Hello and welcome to another episode of From the Stands Rochdale AFC, where we talk everything Rochdale related. In today's episode we will be discussing the absolute battering of Gateshead on Wednesday, as well as looking forward to the game against Brackley this weekend, where we sit down with Andy, the stadium announcer, where we sit down and speak about the recent success down at St James's Stadium and what to expect for this season. I'm really looking forward to this Gateshead review, so let's get straight into the video. Who would have thought that a release of a new third kit would be our first loss of the season? It's not great, it's not awful, our yellow away kit a couple of years ago was much worse. But we'll only see us in it a couple of times, so buy it while it's in store. As a little disclaimer for this Gateshead game, they would be well out of sight if it was not for George Shelby. He made 11 saves in this game, and 8 of them were from inside the box. He was absolutely brilliant. As for the Dale players, SofaScore here have give Rodney the man of the match, but honestly, I don't think I could pinpoint a single player that I thought was outstanding to the other players. It's crazy. I've not seen a match from Rochdale in a very long time where I could not pick a single man to be man of the match. It was like team of the match. They were absolutely unreal. And I think the part I loved most about it was the fact that after we went 1-0 up, I know Gateshead got into the game a little bit from like the 20th minute till roughly from the 20th minute till the 40th minute. I thought Gateshead looked like they were going to push for an equaliser. They really did press very high. At one point, all their players were in our half, and I thought that we really needed to get that second goal or to get to half time. Otherwise, it might be one of those games where it's a bit shaking, a bit closer than it should have been. As soon as Manny D scored that second goal, it killed the first half off, because they completely dropped back and they were isolated for the remainder of that first half. Coming out into the second half, though, I thought instead of sitting on a lead like we did against Bournemouth, like we did against Altrincham, we actually went for them even more. I thought Rodney was brilliant. Obviously, he took his goal quite well. I think we could have scored a lot more. There was a lot of messing about. Like Alaraki, when he came on, all he kept wanting to do was just cut inside and shoot, and I think he did that on 3 or 4 occasions. Adi Barlow on one occasion could have squared it to Manny D in the box, decided not, tried messing about with it a bit, and it ended up at Manny D's feet, but he was stood still, he couldn't really get his foot round it, and then Rodney tapped it in. Even some of these substitutions that we brought on, Alaraki obviously was going after his man. Tatonda came on and showed up that defence a little bit. McBride got his goal, very, very good goal. Dan Moss came on, he sort of played that defensive role on the other side with Tatonda. And then Levi Manch came on, took on about 4 men at one point and kind of embarrassed them really. But again, like we've got strength in numbers, which I think is the big factor for this season. I think the 2 players that I was most impressed with was Harvey Gilmore and Ryan East. Now, Ryan East has been getting quite a lot of stick recently from a couple of fans, from what I've seen on Twitter. He's not really had the level of consistency that he did in his first season prior to us signing him on a permanent. But as you can see, the accurate passes, the touches, 88% and 92%, it's very high. Gilmore does this thing that I really like, where he receives the ball on the turn and he lays it. Pritchard was brilliant as well until he went off injured. I don't really know the outcome of that injury, but he worked his arse off. And I don't know if there's any distance covered. That is a shame. But starting from the goalkeeper, his long passing still needs a bit of work, but I don't feel like it's really hindered us that much. Like, we're just winning the ball high up anyway. Gordon was absolutely brilliant again, as always. He's an absolute engine in that right back position. Ebanks showed up that defence. I've noticed more and more this season, the more I watch Ebanks, the more I realise how good of a captain he is, not just as a player. He really does control that defence, and it's a very gung-ho defence. It's very Chris Wilder in the Premier League a couple of years ago, where both the wider centre-backs were bombing forward. That's pretty much what we do. Beckwith sits back a bit more, but Gordon is always up in these sort of roles. As for Pritchard, I thought he was absolutely fantastic until he went off injured. He was probably my man of the match. He just runs and runs and runs, and he had a very good partnership with Gilmore and Beckwith down this side, even with Rodney at times, because it did look like they wanted to use Kane Adam a bit more on this right-hand side and linking up with Telford down this side. So Pritchard had to dig in a lot more than he normally would. Obviously, I've just referred to Gilmore and East. Rowling had quite a quiet game, but you know he still gets up and down the pitch quite a lot, and he's due a break soon, surely, because his role is relentless. I thought Barlow started very well in the game against Gateshead. He was dropping deep, picking the ball up, and pretty much running at Grayson and Ferguson. That's why they had such a poor game. Bless him. He was that link-up player. Rodney's such a strange player. We all know he's really, really quick and he's really, really strong. And sometimes he looks like he can't be bothered until he just switches it on, and then it's go time. That, as you can see for the Disaruvwe goal, was that the second? Yeah, the second goal. And then obviously you got Manny D, who's just an absolute unit. I'm like a broken record if I just talk about him all the time. But in terms of an absolute complete performance, they were absolutely brilliant. One thing I was very shocked about in the press conference is that Jim McNulty said that the Boreham Wood fixture this season was the most complete game that we've played so far. I think this absolutely blows it out of the water, not just for goals but controlling the game defensively. We was just so much better than Gateshead, and Gateshead are a better side than Boreham Wood. Granted, against Boreham Wood we were half decent side, but this was ruthless. These are the type of games that you go out and win to prove, yeah, we are going for this promotion. And I feel like teams like Carlisle and York are going to be looking at performances like that and thinking, right, we've got another challenger here. That may all be said in jest, but come on, you can understand I'm getting carried away after winning our first 4 competitive games, which is the first time we've done that since 1929-2030 season. So only the second time we've ever done it. I'm now going to sit down with Andy, the stadium announcer at Brackley Town, and discuss the fixture this weekend down at St James's Park, where Rochdale take on newly promoted side Brackley, and let's just say there's a bit of optimism about the place. Hello, I am sat here with Andy, the stadium announcer at Brackley, and thank you for joining me.
No worries, mate. Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Firstly, how's it like being in the National League for the first time?
It's still a little bit of dreamland, to be honest. It's very weird. Any Brackley fans that are watching this know that day of days back in sort of April, I actually missed. I wasn't there. The biggest game in the club's history, and I was up in Leeds at a gig, so I missed it. And there are videos surfacing about of me. To be honest, crying like a baby when we got promoted, and it hasn't sunk in all summer that people said, "You ready? You ready? You ready?" And it hasn't sunk in. It's now that. Sort of that first game against East, it's like, wow, this is real. And it's now kicking in. The likes of playing yourselves at Rochdale. We're up in that big league now, and we finally got there, and it's still sinking in, to be honest, from my point of view.
Well, especially given that you've lost 2 playoff finals recently as well, that must be pretty tough.
We are. We were. I actually joked with the previous chairman a few years ago. So when it said, proud members of the Vanarama National North, I said, at some point we just change the permanent members, because it was just like Groundhog Day. You get to the playoffs, you'd either get to the semi-final, it go wrong, and then the 2 finals, especially the second final, that hurt more for me doing what I do. The year before, it was because I had so much turmoil as well with sort of the change of manager and sort of Gaz Dean taking over as caretaker, getting us to the final. The second year, that last final, and it was, you did the presentation on the pitch. And at that point, it's suddenly kicked in. It's just like, see you next season. You said it because it was emotional, because I'm a Brackley born and bred lad, and you're proud. I'm so proud of what I do. But it was just that thought. It's like, and no disrespect to any of the teams National League North, made so many friends, but it's just like, we've got to go through this again for another 9 months. We're there. We deserve, and not being big-headed, we deserve to be there. But we just keep falling that final hurdle. It actually kicked on that final. So to get to the National League itself, it's an amazing achievement for such a small town as well.
Yeah, I think we felt quite similar, not so much as you guys, but we fought so hard to get to the playoffs last year, and we got to the playoffs and we fell at the first hurdle. So it was a case of like that times 10, for yourselves. My next question is, what are the aims for this season?
It depends who you speak to. I think, I'd love to see us in the playoffs. I mean, when we went into the National League North itself, back in the old days when it was the blue square,
Oh, God,
and, that first year, the playoff final, Halifax, first season, playoff final down at SJP, it was probably about 2 years before I started working there. But, first season, we were in there and we got there. Getting the playoffs, that would be just phenomenal. I mean, we've got a bit of history in playoffs now, so we know the drill, really. But to be honest, this year just survive. But I personally, I don't know if any Brackley fans are watching this, probably disagree with me. If we're the top half of the bottom half, so 12th to 14th, that would just be amazing. I think we can achieve more with the squad. It's the squad's still gelling, and some of the signings over the summer, it's been real statements of intent from Gavin that he's there, he's not messing about. He wants to do this, as best he can. He's done an amazing job so far. And the signings we've got so far, we're up there with a shout. Looking at the table at the minute, some of the teams, it's only 2-3 weeks into the season, 2-3 games into the season. And you're looking at some of the teams that you think, should be up there already. They're not. Some of the teams you don't expect to be up there. It's a long season. I mean, come this time last year, we were loitering down the wrong end of the table. Come September, there was fans, calling for Gavin Cowan, to go. And then look what happened. It's a long season, but definitely survival. We will survive. It's a big punt here in August, but we will survive. It'd be nice to be in that, that top 12. But I think anywhere around, 12th to 14th.
Looking at the transfers that you brought in a lot of experience. Like Ryan Haynes is coming from Cheltenham. He's played a lot of league football. Michael Nottingham, he plays for St Ives.
That was the sign. Just remember seeing it come through on the socials. Just like we saw on this lad from Scottish, and it's like, whoa, that is a step of intent. He's really, really impressed me so far this year. He's a lad you wouldn't want to come across. He's just this massive tall unit that reads the game well. He knows what he's doing. He's a fantastic signing so far this year.
He's had a lot of EFL football. He's played for Salford, Blackpool, Crewe, Accrington. Unfortunately for him, he did go off injured in the last game, but I'm hoping for your sakes that it's nothing serious.
It is, but he's just. That's the kind of signs we're dealing with now. That we want those players with intent, and especially with the experience as well. That it is that weird step now that you've gone from the National League North. Next step is the Football League.
Yeah.
Who knows what we do? Who knows what we can achieve? Yeah. But it's the signings like that. Haynes, like you said, another massive signing. Danny Waldron, another massive signing. And it's proven that we're not there just to make up the numbers and have a bit of fun for 12 months. We want to push on to the next level, which from the top all the way through, that's what the club want to do.
So given that Gavin Cowan has had quite a strange career so far, he's managed Telford for a short time and then obviously yourselves. But he's been very successful, I'd say, in those times. What is it tactically that makes them so tough to beat?
I think it's just really is attention to detail. It's a little bit of attention to detail. There's always been a team spirit, even going back to when Kevin Wilkin took over. There's been this team spirit within the club that there's no egos, there's no big players, so to speak. They're big names, but you're a group. You win as a team, you lose as a team. And there was a brilliant interview with Shane Byrne this week in the non-league paper. I saw that, you work as a team, you work as a squad, and you're going to get shouted at because that's the nature of football. But on the other hand, you fit into the squad. And Gavin Cowan's come in, he understands how the club works. It's not as though he's, he wants to make this professional. He wants to make it, he does make it brilliantly professional. It's a great setup there. But it's just the fact the way he gets his teams organised and his formation. He's very meticulous to everything and make sure everything's crossed and all the I's and all the T's, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's just the way that if one player's missing, he's got that player, and he knows how to adapt and work, and just he has the belief in the players. It's a great system. He has the belief in the players. The players have belief in him. They work as a great unit, and it just shows. And I mean, especially like last season, that so well drilled, so well organised, and it's just his attention to detail that he knows what to do and when to do it. And with his backroom staff as well, they work as a great unit. You see them working as a unit. It's not one body in the dugout, the other sitting there. They're working as a unit in throughout the game. You can see them talking, working, seeing what's going on. And I think that's what makes the difference is just Gavin's attitude and professionalism towards it.
The ultimate goal, obviously, for every team in the National League is to get to the EFL. That's everyone's dream. Do you think he's really the guy that... I mean, I said the same to Erin last week about Phil Parkinson at Altrincham. Is he the guy to take him forward, do you think? And if so, what would be the best way about going about it?
Very good question. You've got to say yes. You've got to say yes. He is the man to take us forward. He knows what he's doing. He's got that trust in the players. Like I said, he's got that belief. Yes, he is the man to take us forward. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're Gavin Cowan, whether you're somebody in the Northwest combination, whether you're, end of the day, even, Guardiola. You're only as good as those 11 players on the pitch. At the end of the day, if they're not doing the job, you can be the best manager or the worst. You can be the worst manager in the world with the best 11 players and you're winging it. Or the other way around, you can be the best manager in the world. Your players aren't putting a shift in and doing the job that you need them to do. I believe, he can do it. It's just, you never know. It's always like, football's a cruel mistress, and those dead certs. I've been chatting to a couple of fans that were at Yeovil last night, saying, like I said, I didn't see the game. You know that you take them chances, you win games, and you can play absolutely awful and win 1-0. And you can play absolutely superb and lose 2-1. That's the nature of football. I believe, yes, he can do it, and he can take the club forward the way he's doing it. The club's now gone hybrid in terms of training. We're not full-time, we're not part-time. There's more training. As long as things happen on the pitch, yes, he's the man to take us forward.
Speaking of the game yesterday against Yeovil, I have managed to watch most of it so far. DAZN, again, very dodgy. But the two players that really stood out to me were Morgan Roberts, who, looking at it on the lineup, he played just behind the strikers, but he did drift out left quite a lot. And also Kyle Morrison looked really on it in terms of defensively, like switching on for the interception. Who would you say is like the biggest threat, and also what part are you most vulnerable, would you say?
I don't know. I mean, vulnerable, that's a very tricky question. I don't think, I mean with the squad and, like I said, the way they can adapt, I don't think there is vulnerability. With the players we've got, there can be bits of vulnerability. I'll be honest, I won't sort of mention them bits. There could be potentially, and worst case scenario, there could be those bits of vulnerability, even if I can get the words out. But like I said, Morgan Roberts, he's just been phenomenal. He was phenomenal last year, and he's just, again, this year he's just took up another notch. And he's in a way, I mean, sort of watching him against Blackburn the other week in our cup game. Right. It reminds me a little bit now of when we had Cosmo Twaza with us, that it was an unknown quantity, and then suddenly people realised what he did, and now Morgan just seems to be this target man. It's just like, he's such a threat. It's as though opposite gaffers are just like, we've got to look at Morgs. We've got to make sure that lad does nothing, and his work on and off the ball. But it's throughout the team, from the spine. I mean, you got Gaz Dean, the most solid defender, without being biased, the most solid defender probably in the league. Full stop. He's still there. He's still doing his job all the way through. You got the likes of Shane Bird, Matty Lowe, that have been there for years. They know the drill, they know the club, all the way up to that front line. That you've got that spine. I would say Morgs has just gone up a notch this year. Absolutely, I think he will be key towards our success.
Well, even going back to again, I only watched 45 minutes so far of the game, and he's pinpointed, like, straight away. I'm looking at him thinking, I tell you what, he's a player, this bloke. He looks absolutely brilliant. And say that is I don't even think he's that old, is he? No, he's only 24. So
yeah, I'll say he's still got a lot of football in him. He's played pro level. He's been at Northampton Town, so he's played at that football league level. He's been there. He knows the drill, and at that age as well, you're chomping at the bit, thinking, I've still got another bite of the cherry. I can still play football league. I'm doing a great job where I am, but I want to play Football League. I want to play Football League for the club I'm with and the club I love.
Yeah. You want that sort of like ambition from the team within. They don't want to move anywhere else. They want to do it from within.
Definitely.
So obviously it's a very tough game. You've only played your second game now. You didn't play Morecambe. That was who you were supposed to play last weekend. Am I right?
That's it. Morecambe again. So I mean, just worried. I mean, they're safe. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Really good news.
It doesn't matter who you love or hate in football. You don't want to see another club go.
Well,
because
I mean,
end of that,
from our point of view, we've had Bury previously, who are our biggest rivals. They went bust, and you can have your banter rights, but at the end of the day, it's we didn't want Bury to go bust because they're our kryptonite. You want to keep these clubs going, especially at this level.
Even if you dislike them, you still want. There's that little bit. It's like that's somebody's job. That's somebody's livelihood. That's somebody's Saturday afternoon.
It's a community.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people, especially non-league football as well, that people don't realise. It's not just 2 hours on Saturday afternoon, a couple of pints. It's that you're meeting somebody, you're having fun, you're getting away from the 9 to 5 or the whatever's going on in your life. You're just escaping for a bit, and to see them survive, and especially with the drama. I mean, Netflix, Disney doing the Wrexham things.
Yeah.
If in 15 years' time nobody's heard this Morecambe story, people think that's just been made up, hasn't it? They've been bought, they haven't been bought, and various people are buying that. I think for legal reasons won't comment on, shall we? But the fact they survived. Yeah, I think let's move on quickly. But it's great they've survived and they're good. I'm looking forward to them coming to us, at Christmas. Looking forward to going at that. Fingers crossed. If anyone's listening from the league, end of October would be lovely because I'm up in Morecambe on holiday that day.
Yeah, lovely.
So kill two birds with one stone. But it's great to see them survive. Like I said, we haven't played many games yet. We're still playing catch up. I think the most bizarre thing on our fixtures is this National League Cup that we're sitting top of the group.
Yeah.
We've got Man United next.
Oh, we've got them soon as well. I think in October.
But it's the fact we're Little Brackley. We're top of our group, and our next game is against Manchester United. And it's like, hang on. We're Brackley Town. This is weird, but it's just been an absolute dream of a season so far, and hopefully, it goes on and carries on for the next few months.
Going off script a little bit, this National Cup, like I've done a couple of videos on this channel now, and I've not said anything about the National Cup because for ambitions of our own, that's a bit of a distraction. But for clubs like Brackley, the winnings is $1 million. Like that'll do you. That'll do these sort of clubs massively.
It is. And that's the thing. It's the extra revenue. But again, it was non-league. I read somewhere it was Sutton last year, wasn't it? That made an absolute not a killing, but a lot. They can just reinvest back into the club and just those little things. I know the attendances haven't been massive for last year's. I was looking at before, but we went in. The attendances aren't massive, but it's an extra game. It's that buzz you get in a big team down here. I was at the Blackburn game. Yeah. There's Blackburn. I mean, one of the best ones. There was a young lad sitting next to me from Northampton. His first ever Blackburn game, about 5-6 years old. That's 30 quid turnstiles for us, and he's got to see Blackburn Rovers for the first ever time. And it's moments like that sort of make it worthwhile with these. The crowds are low, but it's football is experience, and it's a competition to play, and it's a trophy. At the end of the day, it's a trophy, and it's not the greatest trophy, but it's a trophy you can win.
Yeah, absolutely. As someone who's never won a trophy, and you've won one not long ago, you won the league, and then you won a cup as well.
There was that little thing at Wembley with the FA Trophy,
Yeah, it's a bit sore that for us yet. So finally, I will just ask, what is your score prediction?
Oh, now that is you never sent me in this in the message, did you? Score prediction.
This is the first time I've asked that question.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I don't know. I mean, sorry. I'm going to go for a 2-1. I'd love it to be 2-1 to Brackley. I think it'll be a very close game. I don't think it'll be. It won't be a goal fest. We're sort of renowned for not scoring lots of goals. It's we win games 1-0, 2-0. It's a Gavin Cowan thing. We do the job. We score the goals. We go home. We sometimes not as clinical as we can be in front of goal. But I'll go with the 2. I'll go with the 2-1. I'll go with 2-1. Yeah, I suppose before I get lynched, anybody watching this, I better go for Brackley.
Thank you very much, and good luck for the season.
No worries, mate. Take care.
Cheers.
I'm going to see you soon. Thanks a lot.
And here we go again, a place of familiarity of the tactics board. How exciting. So, obviously, I've had a delve into the Brackley lineup, and they've had two very different formations. First up, so this is the formation that they did play recently against Yeovil on Wednesday. They did lose 2-1, but they were the better team. But they have also played with a 5-2-1-2. I'm not entirely sure how I feel this lineup will go. Nottingham, if he is injured, then Danawa has come in. He did play against Blackburn. He did play in the game that Andy did reference in the National Cup. I think they might play with this. They might try and compact that midfield a bit more. So I'm going to predict, I'm going to put my life on the line and say this is the lineup that they'll play. In terms of Rochdale, I do feel like this is a bit of a lose-lose situation. I do think we're going to rotate heavily, given that we also have a game on Monday. I think Tatonda, I think pretty much the only player that will probably start is East. If not, I think Humbles might come into the team, but he's not had any minutes yet. So I think McBride's almost nailed on to start because he came on as a sub, and he did impress, to be fair, when he came on. Hendo, these are the sort of matches that he'll be brought in for. Amanchi will start. I think Manny D will get a rest. Alaraki will come back into the side. Maybe Rowling drops out but we've not seen that Hosanna at all yet. Dan Moss, I think he might start. Hogan will probably get a game. Tonda has been in and out. So I feel like this is the team that we will go into the game with. If we don't go into the game with this team, I think that'll be the team on Monday. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. Again, thank you everyone for your support on these videos. I'm trying to churn them out as quick as I can, as we've got quite a busy week coming up. So hopefully we'll have another video out on Sunday, where hopefully we'll be sitting down with a Sutton fan to discuss their fixtures and how their season is going. So if you do like these videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.